Chapter 26, 1970 World Duel Championship v. Chapter 26, 1970 World Duel Championship v. A continuation. Rabin realizes that he is starting to lose and begins to devise a winning strategy. He realizes that he is already thinking of falling to the ground like this. He immediately uses the spell to accelerate his fall, at the moment that he almost hits with the floor uses. The spectators in the stands were anxious to see Rabin's fall at great speed towards the ground. They were astonished to see him disappear into the air a few millimeters from the ground, almost causing them a heart attack of such suspense, but some scream with excitement and spirits, "Rabin, Rabin, Rabin!" You could feel the excitement and support for his idol. Alphard on the other hand sees his opponent fall towards the ground and disappear. When he sees him disappear, he tries to calculate where he could appear and immediately casts two simultaneous spells and, in that direction. When Rabin touches the ground, he sighs in relief, but immediately watches his opponent Alphard summon 5 large 3-meter snakes with a spell and launch them at high speed with another spell. With a masterful approach he casts a 6-spell combo, and, each attack led by each of the serpents, and the last attack was aimed at Alphard. Alphard sees the spell coming and immediately decides to give it his all. He casts 2 support spells and on himself, feeling his mind focused and his body empowered, he casts a powerful simultaneous combo of 8 spells, and end with certainly a great move. Well, with this move, Alphard will win, and with that momentum Rabin won't be able to stop him. I kept looking to see what else could happen. The crowd was able to see the powerful clash between Rabin's Expelliarmus spell and Alphard's Depulso spell, and that clash faded into thin air or dissipated into thin air, the audience ecstatic by what they had just observed, screaming innovation. On the other hand, Rabin is not well. As he realized that a spell was approaching him, he immediately casts to defend himself, but realizes that it was a decoy and having no other options to support his defense, because when hitting the first spell you can observe 8 sparkling jets coming and impacting on the translucent sphere, without the possibility of escaping. Apply more magic to the translucent sphere and resist the damage when it arrives suddenly. The third spell Depulso that hits the sphere powerfully and relentlessly translucent. Frustrated, Rabin could only grit his teeth and apply more magic, hoping to resist the impact. However, his frustration is just beginning because he sees the 4th spell appear. It was another multi-shot, but it was more powerful than the previous one. Because it had 10 glowing jets, Rabin, somewhat exhausted, applied more magic to the translucent sphere, hoping to hold out and be able to attack. But his hope is shattered when he observes that the Alphard combo was far from over, because when the impact on the translucent sphere ends, the 5th spell Depulso collides implacably on it, almost vanishing the translucent sphere. But Rabin applies it more magic because he knows the worst is yet to come, as he can watch the 6th multi-shot spell come and hit with the translucent sphere, clenches his fists and teeth in frustration and supports. But the sphere breaks and dissipates. I have immediately a 7th spell Expelliarmus hits him and his wand shoots out of his hand, and he immediately feels that everything slows down as he has just been hit 8th spell Immobulus. Crowd in the stands was in a euphoria, in frenzy and madness, as no one thought that Alphard would suddenly go insane and as if he was stimulated with steroids and casting such a powerful combination of spells. Poor Rabin could be seen moving in slow motion, waiting for the inevitable. On the other hand, Alphard quickly observes his opponent moving his body in slow motion, as if he was waiting for him to finish him off, and immediately, with a smile sure of his victory, he shoots the spell. Rabin watches the spell approaching and clenches his resin teeth tightly, feeling the impact on his body. He feels that everything turns black and he faints. Aberforth, when he watches Rabin fainting, he softens the ground where Rabin will fall and raises his hand, says the winner of this duel, Alphard Black. Just like that Rabin boy predicted, he was unprepared for the unpredictable and paid the price with his defeat. Even though I will say that you have a good mind. The crowd in the stands went wild and shouted the winner's name, Alphard, 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 Alphard. You could also hear the screams and cries of the Rabin fans. Since he had proven to be a powerful and skilled magician and had earned everyone's recognition, but sadly there could only be one win and one loser. Our dear host Oman appears in the middle of the platform and shouting excitedly, he says in the name of Merlin, what kind of duel we have just seen, what skill, what distresses, what timeless and luck. Lady Victoria smiles at Alphard Black with the sweet victory. The crowd roared in frenzy at the announcer's comment. Clearly the audience was very excited and ecstatic. Host Oman appears next to Alphard and asks Alphard how you feel about this victory. Alphard, who was tired and was already feeling the weakening effects of the spell, replied, I'm a little tired, but I'm glad I won. Without giving any more room to ask, he leaves the platform, walking elegantly towards the exit and raises his fist in the air in victory, and immediately the crowd in the stands turns euphoric in ovations and shouts Alphard, 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 Alphard. He, that Alphard boy will be weak for a couple of hours, and I think by the next fight he will be weaker. Host Oman was dumbfounded, as he couldn't get much out of Alphard, because he responded quickly and left quickly. He sees Rabin's side, but he only sees his team helping him, so that he recovers more quickly. He observes that he was awake, but they were healing him and giving him potions to counteract the effects of the spells he received. With a gossip smile, it will be done quickly to Rabin. Host Oman, Rabin, how you feel about combat? Rabin, who was swallowing potions after potions for his Medabruyas, healers and potion masters. He looks at Oman as if he is doing him a favor and immediately interrupts his treatment and replies, I feel frustrated. I came to think for a moment that I had victory in my hands, and out of nowhere Alphard went crazy and threw that damn combination of spells. I certainly trusted myself and paid the price, but I learned a lot from this duel, and for next year I will be back to compete. Ha ha ha, you certainly paid the price with your defeat. If I wasn't moving you with a passion, all over the field without planning, I wouldn't have defeated you and you would have won. I keep watching. The audience in the stands roars in approval. Rabin, Rabin, Rabin was clearly very excited. The host Oman laughs and says, well friend, that's the magic of duels, since there will always be a loser and a winner. Unfortunate in this duel you lost. Rabin with a smile and enthusiastic, you are certainly right, that special magic was what made me fall in love with this sport. For some people we can be barbarous and uneducated, since we dedicate ourselves to martial magic with all our hearts, but he is glad of the good changes our dueling community has undergone in recent years. As combat mags we are being recognized in many countries. Spectators in the stands roar in another cheer. Rabin, 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 Rabin agreed with the words. Host Oman, you are certainly right. After this, what will you do, friend? Rabin with a smile replies, I will try to teach my son martial magic so that he will follow in my footsteps and train to become stronger. To be continued. P.S. Information on spells used in the chapter. This spell helps you quickly fall to an object or a living being. The teleportation spell. This spell summons a snake. This spell throws a snake through the air towards the opponent. This removes snakes. It is the counter spell Serpent Sorcerer. Focuses and clears the mind. It is also used to accelerate the thoughts and have. This spell takes the magic from around you to make you more powerful for a predetermined time. The effect is that it weakens you for a couple of hours. In short, this spell is a stimulant to make you stronger. It is a very powerful enchantment that moves objects and living beings away from the person who conjures it, sending them flying towards a specific target or place. The repulse enchantment repels anything that is pointed with the wand. This spell or spell fires several jets of sparks at once from the wand bit, depending on the caster's mastery. Disarm spell. The freezing charm is a spell that immobilizes living targets. A more detailed description is that it slows down the opponent's movements. The stunning enchantment. This spell is quite simple. If you are hit by this spell, you faint or are momentarily stunned. Comment. 2 comments. Vote. Chapter 27, 1970 World Dueling Championships 6. Chapter 27, 1970 World Dueling Championships 6. A continuation. Rabin with a smile replies, I will try to teach my son martial magic so that he will follow in my footsteps and train to become stronger, and maybe bring my son to compete next year. It will certainly be a great family tradition and the audience will surely welcome young Patil, says Aman. Thanks friend, Namaste, says Rabin. Rabin can be seen clasping his palms together and slightly bowing his head and back. Clearly it was a form of farewell to the Indian. Aman imitates him Namaste. Even the public dismisses him shouting Namaste. You can see Rabin walking off the platform with his recovery team from Medabruyas, healers and potion masters. Clearly Rabin was sentenced because he already saw potions coming after potions, by his recovery team who were concerned about their health. They are ready for more, shouts Aman excited. The crowd in the stands roar in a cheering cheer. We're ready, we're ready. Aman says our next fighter is a very powerful lady and witch, champion of various magical competitions. It is my pleasure to introduce you to the Bulgarian dueling champion, Ekaterina Krumny Valkov. The crowd roars ovation as there were many Bulgarian fans in the audience. Ekaterina, Ekaterina, Ekaterina. From the entrance of the participants, you can see walking a woman with white skin, young between 24 and 25 years old, with straight hair and black eyes, with beautiful facial features, with an striker look, serious, moody and angry, wearing a beautiful dress Victorian turquoise with extravagant designs in silver, with loose and straight hair. He carries a fan in his hand and in the other hand he carries his wand. You could tell from her gait and etiquette that she was a lady of a noble house. I think this woman is the mother of Victor Krum, that guy who participated in the Triwizard tournament. Ekaterina, how do you feel? Says Aman. Ekaterina says coldly, stop wasting time and announce my opponent so we can start. Ha ha ha, that's what you get for gossiping. Aman and that girl Krum don't like to waste time. I kept watching, not wanting to miss out on the fun, or rather poor Aman's misfortune. Aman stared at Ekaterina thinking of something. The audience in the stands was laughing and booing our beloved host Aman. Ekaterina, as if her intuition was activated, asks with vigilance, you are thinking of something rude, right? Aman, as if his life depended on it, he denies it and says of course not, I was only thinking about how to present your opponent, ha ha. The audience in the stands cried with laughter at Aman's misfortune. Ekaterina coldly says you better, because otherwise you could be affected by some unknown spell or enchantment. Aman has been sweating cold, as the woman in front of him was relentlessly vindictive and quickly says of course I didn't think of that. The audience was still laughing at how comical host Aman looked. Ha 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 ha, this Aman boy is regrettable. The only reason I don't get bored with these tournaments is because it makes me laugh to see him being so pathetic. Our man quickly introduces the next participant, is a witch who is participating for the first time in the World Dueling Championship, and give a strong welcome to the champion of Greece, Persephone Raptis, nicknamed the Witch in Red. A loud applause. The crowd roared ovation. The Witch in Red, the Witch in Red, the Witch in Red. Clearly the Witch in Red was someone famous in the world of dueling and had a great fanaticism, especially witches. The nickname of the Witch in Red was it. They awarded because he always wore red. Oh, then the Red Witch also appeared. Certainly she is the only one who is in the 5th stage and could give me some challenge. I will have to see. At the entrance a tall woman walks proudly, with beautiful features, braided black hair, tanned skin, with a cocky look as if everyone were below her, from about 35 to 38 years old, wearing a beautiful, very traditional Greek kavai. For those who do not know what it is a set that includes a red tunic, hand-woven and placed on a kind of red shirt, a black belt, and in her braided hair she wears one decorated with wild flowers. When he reaches the platform, he watches Ekaterina smile in a slightly sinister way. Ekaterina sees her smile and says, "You better give up your bad intentions, witch. Ha ha, so far I have not found an adversary worthy of mention. I came to the world competition because they told me that there is a smug magician and that he does not know the immensity of the skies and declares himself invincible," says Persephone. "Sorry for knowing no limits to my arrogance, but this brother is trying to make a legend around here." Ekaterina raises her fan up to her mouth so that they don't see her mocking smile, as she is caused by her opponent's ignorance, and says, "Well, if you win until the end, you will be able to observe it for yourself and know why they call it invincible. Although we generally always call he the tyrant, since it is the diminutive of he, other nickname as a bounty hunter magician." Persephone realizes that her opponent is making fun of her, thinking something like, "This witch's request a good beating," and with a provocative smile, "Oh, she seems very informed, and why don't you enlighten me?" "I'll tell you, but if you beat me," says Ekaterina with a smile. Our man, who was on the side, saying nothing since he did not want to be the target of these crazy witches, who seemed like they were going to kill themselves at any moment, takes a little courage and says, "To witness this fight, our dear referee Aberforth Dumbledore." Aberforth walks up to the half-platform between the two ladies and says, "I want an honorable and fair duel. You can only win the duel by stunning, wounding, or your opponent surrendering, and you cannot kill the opponent. It is understood?" Ekaterina and Persephone answer yes. Both competitors present their wands, in keeping with the tradition of dueling. They turn around and walk the 10 steps. Then they turn and look into each other's eyes with great battle intent. When the bell rings, the duel begins, says Oman. Ting, ting. Both witches simultaneously cast the spell. Both spells collide and then dissipate. However, Persephone shows her experience and casts the spell. Ekaterina sees the spell coming and counterattacks with the audience in the stands watches with excitement and suspense, watching every move the two powerful witches make, as no one wants to blink and miss it. Again both spells collide and dissipate. Ekaterina casts a transfiguration spell and casts the spell. Persephone observes the flock of birds and the other spell hidden among the birds, showing her dueling experience, quickly takes a small rock with his wand around him and throws it towards Ekaterina, but before he goes very far he adds the spell. The small rock becomes a monstrous and huge rock more than 10 meters high and wide. The audience in the stands is surprised by such a demonstration, since they had never seen anything like it before, and they immediately concentrate to see what Ekaterina will do. Ekaterina watches in amazement how simple Persephone cast a spell, as if to be continue. P.S. Information of spells used in the chapter. This spell is to enlarge an object or animal. The author's favorite. It is simple repel spell, attacks expels your opponent to the distance, disarm spell. Summons a flock of birds to throw them towards the opponent, commonly used for pranks or to distract your opponent. Comment. 0 comment. Vote. Chapter 28, Chapter 28, 1970 World Duel Championship 7. Chapter 28, 1970 World Duel Championship 7. A continuation. Hello friends, it's me Max. Here I am watching these two witches fighting, even though the battle is already decided and I focus on the battle. Ekaterina observes with amazement how simple Persephone cast a spell, as if it were the easiest in the world. The huge stone approaches, overwhelmed the birds and even the depulse spell. She realizes that Persephone is a veteran of dueling. She has been reigning as champion in her country for several years. Ekaterina says, I admit it, you are good and I will not give you victory so easily. She points with her wand, she casts the spell and you can immediately see the huge rock shatter, and taking advantage of the dust, she casts the spell at her opponent. Persephone with a delighted smile, casts the spell and immediately a thick mist can be observed that spreads all over the place and then she feels a spell coming and immediately uses, then it is said in whispers. You should give up my dear, and it's because this witch, I already won this duel. Ekaterina, being able to see nothing through the fog, casts the spell and immediately felt that it was on her back, but out of nowhere she heard, and in immediately feeling that her body he does not respond later, he feels his body tied with a rope and suddenly another rope arrives that secures it and a cage appears out of nowhere. Aberforth, who was attentive, casts a finite spell and dispels the fog, and immediately Ekaterina can be seen immobile tied with rope and inside a cage. The winner is Persephone Raptis. Certainly that woman is quite good and maybe this year she will have an interesting match or two. Our man comes out of somewhere and says the witch in red has cattle. Crowd in the stands shouts in chorus, the witch in red, 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 the witch in red. They were clearly excited and some spectators Bulgaria were sad that their favorite champion Ekaterina had failed to win. Persephone walks to Ekaterina and dispels the restrictions and says, now why don't you tell me the information? The name by which he is known is Max the Tyrant Dragon, although the dueling community knows him as the Tyrant as he always wins tyrannically. Ekaterina says, ha ha, you flatter me, but I'm just another participant. I'll honestly have to send her a gift for her good words, and I kept watching. Certainly, I have heard of that man from some wizard and witches. If it is him, then I will be very excited to face him, says Persephone, though she thinks to herself. I was listening to the conversation of the two witches with interest, when I see our favorite gossip Arman approaching Persephone, and I could only roll my eyes. Before Arman, who was on the side without saying anything, asks Persephone, how do you feel about this victory? Persephone, who was deep in thought, is interrupted because someone asks her something and immediately looks into Arman's eyes as if she was going to mutilate him into thousands of pieces. I feel excellent, dear Arman. It was no challenge for me, and although I must admit that young Ekaterina has a lot of potential, but she lacks a lot of experience in combat, and that is the reason for my victory. Arman is excited that he can finally ask something. How did you like the World Dueling Championship? Interesting, because the person who had the brilliant idea to put and classify the duels by categories. It is magnificent. By doing so it gives the rookies the opportunity so they can move up the dueling pyramid and develop their skills, plus you make it easier for veterans like me to face stronger opponents, Persephone said cheerfully. Well, thanks, I am considered brilliant in my ideas, but let's see what you really think. When probing her with legilimency, I saw that she was thinking about, well, certainly, there are several points that confuse me, such as the huge numbers of galleons and the development of the dueling career as a profession. Clearly they're more on this, but I can't understand it, Persephone thought. Certainly the woman was thinking of interesting things. That's because the world champion invested all the galleons he earned to further develop the dueling master's profession, says Aman cheerfully. Oh, interesting, says Persephone. From my place, I probed her with legilimency. I saw that he was thinking of, he invested galleons so that the duel master profession and was accepted by the masses. Then little by little, through fame, honor and glory, changed the mentality of sheep, that various magical ministries put on magicians. What a wonder to develop such a strategy, thought Persephone. I could only laugh and say thank you, ha ha ha, thank you, and I kept watching, and maybe I launched another legitimacy. Ha ha, yes it is, Mrs. Persephone, and you have some words that you want to say to your fans all over the world, says Aman. Oh well, I can say that perseverance and dedication every day makes you win. Also practice a spell 1,000 times a day for a period of time and you will begin to understand yourself and your magic, says Persephone with a smile. When probing her with legilimency, I saw that she was thinking of, Ju. With this information, I will remove many innocent sheep from the path and they will turn into wolves, Persephone thought. I too thought she was very cunning and kept watching with interest. The crowd in the stands had people scoring like crazy in notebook. Although if you want to be a powerful wizard or a powerful dueling witch like me, it is quite simple, and first you have to have many battles, second to learn everything you can, and last and most importantly, it is to train your body so that you have better reflections than your opponents, says with a smile Persephone. When I probed her with legilimency, I saw that she was thinking of, Ju. I want to see the face of that old wizards, who always want to have the information for themselves and be the most powerful, Persephone thought. I was quite surprised by his thoughts, but I laughed at his thoughts, and since I also want to piss off those old wizards. Ha ha ha. The audience in the stands scoring like crazy in their notebooks. They clearly treated that information as something precious and a clue to being more powerful. Aman had also jotted down what he just heard, as he also wants to be powerful, and says thank you for the words of wisdom, Mrs. Persephone. You're welcome, young wizard, says Persephone, and then looks at Ekaterina, who was being treated by her recovery team, and says, which Ekaterina, thanks for the information and see you later. You should also exercise your body and your reflexes, because you are very limited for your body. Ekaterina could observe Persephone walking and waving to her fans in the stands. You could clearly hear the cheering cheers from the crowd. The witch in red, 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 the witch in red. Well, witches and wizards. Are you ready for more? Says Aman. The crowd screamed in a frenzy of excitement and expectation. We are ready, we are ready, we are ready. To be continue. P.S. Spells used in the chapter. Hindering enchantment. This enchantment impedes the movement of its victim, temporarily paralyzing it. This spell summons a rope that ties the victim or prevents him from moving in a certain way. This spell summons thick ropes that shoot from the tip of the wand, tying tightly to its target. This transformation spell turns an object into a cage to capture its victim. This spell is a more powerful version of the smoke screen spell. Human presence revealing spell. This enchantment generates a large explosion, capable of collapsing a stone wall. It is a more powerful version of the explosive enchantment. Comment. 2 comments. Vote. Chapter 29, 1970 World Duel Championship IIX. Chapter 29, 1970 World Duel Championship IIX. A continuation. Hello friends, it's me Max. I am currently in a difficult situation, and it is because while I am watching the duels, my 4 wives were reunited with Tatiana. One thing is for sure, this brother will have some tough days to come. Watch the next duel that followed so you don't think about it. I hope you are ready, because I, your host Oman Valalignum, am ready to witness much more, said Oman enthusiastically. Crowd in the stands cheers up at the host's comment and shouts in chorus, "We are ready, we are ready, we are ready." Our next participant, he is a vampire hunter, magician and dueling champion in his country, from Transylvania, Mr. Alistair Eldalker, says Oman with emotion. Oh, he is the Van Helsing guy, and I hope he has progressed, otherwise they will defeat him. This guy thinks that killing vampires is the same as a duel, and he's very wrong. From the entrance you can see a man coming out with a top hat, with a brown raincoat, with Victorian Gothic clothing between black and brown, but the most significant highlight would be the necklace of fangs that he possessed. Elegant and intimidating in appearance, pale white skin, brown eyes, 1.76 cm tall, robust complexion, and aged 50 to 60 years. His facial features were average, although he had a thick beard that made it difficult to distinguish his face, but if you look noticeably you would realize that he has a leg prosthesis. The crowd was clearly intimidated by this vampire hunter, but no one knows who started cheering, and it was because all of a sudden there was a cheer: Alistair, Alistair, Alistair. Welcome to the World Championship duel in the Master category. How do you feel about being here, says Oman, clearly hiding his fear. I am very honored to be here, and my goal for this championship is to win, says Alistair confidently. Go, how confident he is. Well, as I told you, he believes that dueling is the same as hunting vampires, and he is honestly going to lose if he does not realize that. Oman says, then I wish you the best of luck, because you will need it. The crowd in the stands was very excited, clearly they liked it when the participants were very arrogant. Our next participant, he is a leading man in the world of dueling and with over 13 years as Swedish dueling champion. Please give a strong welcome to Mr. Eleuterio Lindström, says Oman with enthusiasm. From the entrance you can see a man in typical Swedish costume. This consists of yellow shorts, knee-length, and a white shirt and a teal vest at the top. With dress shoes, white stockings and a beret that culminates the costume on his head. On the shirt, use a ribbon located in the shape of a bow. His appearance was an older man aged 65 to 70, sharp features, blonde hair, blue eyes, fair skin, of a medium athletic complexion. They looked very excited. Oh, what a showy outfit, he looks like a very colorful and traditional individual. It seems strong, perhaps from a good duel. Well, I'll keep seeing it. Oman says, how does it feel to be here in the championship? Well, young man, I feel very good and I look forward to the duel with Mr. Alistair, says Eleuterio with emotion. The audience in the stands just needed a little spark to motivate themselves as they immediately roared in a frenzied wave of ovation: duel, 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 duel. Now to witness this match our dear referee Aberforth Dumbledore, says Oman excited. Aberforth walks up to the middle platform between the two magicians and says, I want an honorable and fair duel. You can only win the duel by stunning, wounding or your opponent surrendering, and you cannot kill the opponent, understood? Alistair and Eleuterio answer yes. Both competitors present their wands, in keeping with the tradition of dueling. They turn around and walk the 10 steps, then they turn and look into each other's eyes with great battle intent. When the bell rings, the duel starts, says Oman. Ting, ting. Hearing the bell, both magicians point their wands at each other at inhuman speed. Alistair casts the spell while Eleuterio casts the spell. You can watch the clash of both spells and dissipate, but both mags are only just getting started. Alistair casts the spell to test the waters. On the other side Eleuterio casts 2 spells simultaneously and from Alistair's view you could see the 2 spells collide and dissipate, but he noticed that from another spell and great speed he cast and immediately you can see the clash of the 2 spells and dissipate. I'm smiling. The truth is that it was an interesting start, but I saw that Eleuterio was a little faster, although the difference is subtle and I kept observing the confrontation. Eleuterio with a maniacal smile could observe the clash of both spells and dissipate. So he decides to raise his level a bit and casts on the spell and immediately a blast of fire can be observed. Alistair, watching the flames approach, knows that he must raise his level and so he decides to cast and immediately a large sphere of water can be seen colliding with the blast of flames. When they collide, an artificial mist is created by the steam, but Eleuterio with a happy smile launches and immediately you can see a blast of fire twice the size of the previous one. Oh, that old scoundrel! It is clear that nobody expected that and very well planned. I'll keep watching and see what else happens. Alistair with a sinister smile casts 2 successive spells and immediately a large sphere of water twice the size above can be observed, followed by a blast of fire 3 times the size of a normal fire. I was thinking that this old vampire hunter looks like he has some tricks and I use them to get out of the situation. Eleuterio and with a maniacal smile can observe how a water sphere collides with the flames, but he can perceive something from behind the water with a lance smile. From a distance from the audience you could see the 2 old men throwing fire and water at each other. They were clearly crazy, but the audience was excited that this was the kind of match they liked to watch. Both spells collide and dissipate, but nothing can be seen through the vapor mist. Alistair, who has vast experience hunting vampires, smiles because this scenario gives him an advantage and immediately casts, and on the other side of the mist of steam, probing the thoughts with legilimency of Eleuterio, I saw that he was thinking of, surely this old man would think that he is the only one in the world who has faced a vampire, what an arrogant fool. Immediately feeling the magic around him with a smile, he casts 3 spells in the direction of the magic disturbance, and from within the mist of vapor he can hear 3 clashes of spells impact and dissipate, although nothing could be observed. If he could appreciate the colors of the spells colliding or impacting each other it was a very beautiful scene. When probing with legilimency I saw that Alistair was thinking, this old bat, he is starting to annoy me. He clearly wants me to use my magic to knock me down, thinks Alistair and says, old man, I am going to attack with everything. I hope he is ready. From the other side of the fog you can try, but this old man is not a vegetarian, so be prepared for my retaliation. Hearing their comments I laughed a bit, clearly these 2 were in their strategy. Alistair with a smile se. To be continue. PS spells used in the chapter. Expulsion spell, it is also used to repel many spells by pointing it with the wand. Disarm spell. Harry Potter's favorite. Is a spell that invokes fire, when mastered it can invoke a powerful blast of fire. This is the advanced version of the fire spell and summons a powerful blast of fire twice the size of its basic version. This is the advanced and more powerful version of the fire spell that summons a large blast of fire. About 6 meters in diameter. Is a spell that summons water, when mastered it can summon a large sphere of water of 1 meter in diameter. This is the advanced version of the Aguamenti spell and summons a powerful water sphere twice the size of its basic version. This is the advanced and more powerful version of the Aguamenti spell, it creates a 6-meter diameter water sphere. Comment. 4 comments. Vote. Chapter 30, Chapter 30, World Duel Championship 1978. Chapter 30, World Duel Championship 1978. A continuation. Hi friends, it's me Max. I'm currently here observing the outcome of this duel. Alistair with a smile prepares to launch a successive combo that will lead him to victory, and with 3 successive spells he casts them towards Elautorum, and things got interesting. When probing with Legilimency I saw that it was thought, this old man thinks, that I am not going to attack him. Eleuterio thinks with a smiling face, and while he watched the spells come, Eleuterio prepares a combo to neutralize his opponent's spells and counter-attack. He concentrates and launches, and from the public's point of view, the 2 old men could be observed calmly and meticulously attacking each other. Clearly these 2 old men were taking it easy. However, it could be observed that little by little the intensity with which the spells were cast increased. The audience was very excited to see the rivalry of the 2 old men increase. Alistair, seeing his rival blatantly throw a bombardment at him, deciding it's time to give it his all, he immediately launches a and combo. With the clash of 6 powerful collisions, the spells could be seen impacting and dissipating, and by watching the last clash between Bombarda and Depulso duo, the impact between the 2 forces creates a repulsive force that clears the vapor mist in the area. So there you were, old, I thought you had hidden from me, says Alistair. Ha ha, he's certainly an Alistair type, he has his way of bragging and irritating his opponent. I will continue to watch the duel. The crowd was excited, shouting the names of their favorites: Alistair, Alistair, Eleuterio, Eleuterio, Alistair, Eleuterio. Clearly they were excited by the duel. When probing with Legilimency I saw that he was thinking about, this old man was making fun of me, I must give him an exemplary punishment, thinks Eleuterio, but comments, you know Alistair, you have angered this old man, and get ready. And he throws a at Alistair. Oh, I'm so scared. Alistair says sarcastically, while casting a Depulse, to neutralize his opponent's spell, and says, old fool, you're going to need more than, if you really want to defeat me. The crowd in the stands roared with excitement, saying Eleuterio, Alistair, Eleuterio, Alistair. Clearly they were very excited about what more the 2 old men would do. You could see how the 2 spells were impacted and dispelled. But it could be seen that Eleuterio was very angry at Alistair's comment. Eleuterio angrily yells 4 spells in succession, which are, and secretly cast 2 non-verbal spells and Jojo. Now if things got interesting, old man Eleuterum is setting him up like a scam, and let's see if he can make this stew and win. Speaking of food, I'm hungry and I called Pyram to get me something to eat. I suddenly remembered that I had a lot of lemon drops, which I bought and stored, just to annoy old Albus. Ha 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 ha, don't blame me for bugging Albus. I kept watching the duel. When probing with Legilimency I saw that he was thinking, oh shit, the old man went crazy, thinks Alistair, and in a focus and concentrating he prepares to neutralize the spells of his rival. Launching, and immediately you can observe the impacts of the spells neutralizing and dissipating. When hitting the Fire Trier and Aguamenti Trier spells, a thick mist of vapor is created, which spreads rapidly throughout the platform by the repulsive force of the impact of 2 Flipendo and Depulso spells. But Alistair never thought that crafty old Eleuterio was faking his anger and only to let his guard down. Since he felt something impact his body and immediately feels that his body is paralyzed, and with focus he channels his magic into his body. Because he had learned this trick when hunting vampires, since vampires liked to paralyze their victims to draw blood. When he feels his body again, he realizes that he is being sucked by a whirlwind of earth into the subsoil. Imagine a swirl of sand that sucks you underground, but instead of sand it is earth. Oh yeah, Old Elautorum has cooked this vampire hunter stew and it just needs to be seasoned with spices. Ha ha ha, I kept watching and launched a Legilimency probe towards Alistair. When probing him with Legilimency I saw that he was thinking about, oh shit, the crafty old man had it all planned, now I can only hold on, thinks Alistair and casts the spell, enduring the suction of the earth whirlwind and going deeper into the stronger soil became the suction. Feeling that the translucent sphere could not withstand the drag, without options he decides to apply more magic to the translucent sphere in the hope of holding. Ha ha ha. I said so, the old Elautorum is simmering it. Elautorum when observing Alistair inside a translucent sphere sucked towards the ground and trying to hold. With a happy smile he laughs and says you shouldn't have made fun of this old man, now it's time to pay the price. And seriously he points his wand towards the whirlpool of earth and says, oh old Eleutheus is raising the flames to his stew, I think he will soon be ready to serve and enjoy the sweet taste of victory. Not even I myself would have predicted this outcome. Earth whirlwind as if feeling the stimulation of more magic begins to rotate with more intensity and force towards the subsoil. Poor Alistair is cursing Eleuterio for his impudence, clearly he wanted him to drain his magic by protecting himself and then finish him off. When probing him with Legilimency I saw what he was thinking of, come on Alistair, bear with it and think how he can get out of here, without breaking the Protego spell, thinks Alistair, clearly looking for an alternative to leave and he came up with a silly idea, but if it worked he would come out unharmed and if he was unlucky he would drain a lot of magic. It was a better option than being hurt by the ground though as the translucent sphere would soon dissipate. I'm already starting to feel sorry for the man. Old Eleuterio is cooking poor old Alistair in that whirlwind and I can only think of several ways to get out, but I am me and he is him. When probing him with Legilimency I saw what he was thinking of, come on Alistair, you can do it, Alistair thought, trying to cheer himself up and says come on Immediately he feels that he is rising upwards, but the powerful suction forcefully draws him downwards. In frustration he decides to drain all the magic he has left, and casts the improvised spell. And as if it were being shot upwards at high speed, it quickly saw that it had left the earth whirlwind. But in a bad location since the spell loses its effect and leaving it suspended in the air about 7 meters above the ground. It was clearly perfectly visible and a great target. Oh my Merlin! It's a flying duck in motion and someone will have a rifle to shoot him. No one. Too bad I wanted a baked duck. The public when watching Alistair come out of the earth whirlwind shouts excitedly Alistair, Alistair, Alistair. Eleuterio looks surprised at Alistair for having been able to get out of the earth whirlwind, but seeing him so helpless suspended in the air about 7 meters above the ground, he felt a little sorry for his opponent's bad luck. But only a little bit, because a smile of joy could quickly be seen on his face. When probing him with Legilimency, I saw what he was thinking about, I told you, you shouldn't have made fun of this old man, Eleuterio thinks with a smile and with his wand he points at his opponent, but without trusting himself and shoots 3 spells, and Alistair in air was trying to think what to do when he felt that his body could not move. Clearly the old Eleuterio was going to finish him off and trying to desire himself from the spell, but he did not count on the old man to be so cautious. Why did he feel his beloved wand being ripped from his hand and immediately felt another impact and noticed that everything is turning black and immediately passed out? Oh yes, the old Eleuterio this in the house bitches. To be honest this duel was a bit of fun and I kept watching. Aberforth observing Alistair falling and passed out, and knowing that he had already lost, casts the spell to help him. gently levitating Alistair's body towards his recovery team. Since you could see that poor Alistair was full of dirt here and there, with some cuts and even his prosthetic leg was missing. The winner of this duel is Mr. Eleuterio Lindstrom, says Aberforth seriously. When the host Arman appears in the middle of the platform and with emotion he shouts, "Oh by Merlin, what a duel, give a ovation to Mr. Eleuterio Lindstrom." Excited audience. To be continue. Comment. 1 comment. Vote. Chapter 31, Chapter 31, World Dueling Championship 1970X. Chapter 31, World Dueling Championship 1970X. A continuation. Hello friends, how are you doing? Here Max is your favorite protagonist and there is little left for me to start my turn. Some are impatient, but as the saying goes, the best is saved for last. Public of excited shout innovations and they said Eleuterio, Eleuterio, Eleuterio. When probing him with legilimency I saw what he was thinking of. This old man with flashy clothes and with a happy smile, he was ruthless, thinks Arman, and with emotion he approached him. "Mr. Eleuterio, how do you feel about winning?" "Ha ha, this old man, he feels very happy to have won," Eleuterio replied. Clearly he was very excited to have won. "Lord, how do you feel about the changes the grief community has undergone?" asks Arman. "I knew this gossip boy is back. I can only hope the old man is brief," and I kept watching. Oh, this old man, think and believe that things are looking for the better. Since the profession of duelist is becoming accepted in the world, and it is a pride and honor for me to say that I have never felt so much admiration for the wizards and witches of my own country, Eleuterio replied with emotion. "How so, sir? Could you explain a little more?" Arman says, trying to get the old man to explain a little more. "You know that be duelists was a very poorly paid profession in my time, since a wizard or witch uses duels to fix their differences or kill themselves," Eleuterio replied, but he also said duelists in many countries are not well received, since most people have the misconception that we are barbarians and that we only think about solving our problems through duels. It's true, I agree with his words, and I kept seeing the old man speak. "How could you overcome it, sir?" asks Arman. "Over the years I was forced to work in many professions, but I always kept practicing my skills and competing whenever I could," Eleuterio responds. "How was he forced to take other professions?" Arman asked, since many participants always evade the question. "Well, that's for I'll tell you, young man. How do you know how to be a duelist or a master in magical martial combat? In times of war we are well received in every place where there is a war, and in times of peace we are seen as plagues and almost nobody wants to give us jobs," Eleuterio answered seriously, but then said at least that was until the young Maximilian promoted the duels worldwide and made it one of the highest paid magical professions in the world. "Oh, you flatter me, old man, flatter me, ha ha ha." I kept watching. "How did you find out about the changes?" asked Arman. "Oh, this old man, he has 3 grandchildren who are my biggest fans and they told me about it, although I'll be honest, my family never looked favorably on my efforts as a duelist. Since he always had very little money to live on and how sometimes I get injured in some duels," Eleuterio replied as if he were thinking about past events and says, "But the world changed suddenly for me, or thanks to the young Maximilian, since at some point I could through the duels bring well-being and fortune to my family." "Well, I hope you are still winning, sir," says Arman. "Thank you, young man. I hope so too," says Eleuterio as he fights and raises his hand in the direction of 3 young wizards who apparently were his grandchildren. However, the audience thought that he raised his hand in victory and roared innovation. "Eleuterio, Eleuterio, Eleuterio. Public could observe that Alistair was being carried on a stretcher, clearly he was asleep from magical exhaustion or unconscious. They are ready to see another duel, says Oman, trying to raise the ovation of the public. Oh yes, I am ready, as he watched every movement of the platform and the audience. Of course the public was already very excited. The next participant is the new dueling champion of France, and give a strong welcome to the beautiful Mrs. Apolline Delacour, says Oman, excited. From the entrance you could see a tall woman, blonde hair, light skin, blue eyes and a pleasant and not demanding aura. With an attitude she is wise and intelligent, and is also very pretty, as she appears to be half candle. She wore a simple vague dress from the period in purple, with her hair tied back. The excited audience shouted Apolline, Apolline, Apolline. Arman, who couldn't wait any longer, appeared near her and asked her, Miss Apolline, how do you feel about participating in the championship and being one of the 16 strongest participants in the world this year? When probing her with legilimency, I saw what she was thinking of. With determination, Apolline, you must show your skills to the coven, so that they allow you to have children and so they don't get more involved in my decisions. Apolline thinks and says in response with a smile, I feel excellent to be here. Oh, what lovely thoughts, her being the mother of the Triwizard champion Fleur Delacour, and I certainly hope she can achieve her goal. If she can't, I will help her from the outside. I kept watching and listening. Great, I wish you good luck. Arman says, trying to limit her conversation with this half-candle. Thank you. Apolline says with a smile. The excited audience shouted Apolline, Apolline, Apolline. Now, our next participant from the United States, Mr. Jack Dukenhammer, says Oman. What, that man also came? I thought he had retired, and I think this time he came well trained. It is almost in the 5th magic stage. I will continue to see the fun. From the entrance of the participants, you can see a tall man of about 2.10 centimeters, blonde hair and blue eyes, a dominant and authoritative trait. Robust and muscular build, aged 30 to 35 years. And he's dressed in a grey business suit, but without a tie, and some buttons on his shirt unbuttoned, and he looked very casual. Approaching and seeing his opponent, Jack says in a low, high-pitched voice, "Oh, for Merlin, an easy win. He's still so arrogant, like when I met him, and nothing changed." "We'll see about that," Apolline says seriously. "I will certainly agree with Jack, this will be his victory. That guy is a tank and is very annoying to defeat." I kept watching. The crowd in the stands was booing him, clearly supporting their champion with all their hearts. Oh, don't get me wrong, sweetness, but I have traveled so far to fight Max, and without offending you, but you still lack experience in this dueling thing, says Jack confidently as he looked in my direction. It was clear that it was a hint for me. "Oh, that we'll see," says Apolline irritably. "Ha ha ha, I see that you don't believe me, and it's fine. As you are a beauty, I will not be hard on you and let you attack me 20 times, and I will not evade your attacks," says Jack confidently and smiling. She seems very confident. It seems that her turtle mode has evolved. "Now to witness this match, our dear referee Aberforth Dumbledore," says Oman excitedly. Aberforth walks up to the half-platform between the wizard and the witch and says, "I want an honorable and fair duel. You can only win the duel by stunning, wounding or your opponent surrender, and you cannot kill the opponent, of course." Apolline and Jack answer yes/yes. Both competitors present their wands, in keeping with the tradition of dueling. They turn around and walk the 10 steps. Then they turn and look into each other's eyes with great battle intent. When the bell rings, the duel starts, says Oman. Ting, ting. Jack says, "Smile." Now you can attack me 20 times, beautiful. A translucent sphere could clearly be seen around Jack. The public did not expect that this crazy contestant would endure 20 attacks, just to please her champion French. Well, if that's what you want, then this lady will not be polite and will attack you with all her arsenal of spells, says Apollon seriously. But when probing her with legilimency I saw what she was thinking of. This idiot, I don't know who it is believed it is, but I am going to attack it with all my power and let's see where its confidence goes. Go ahead sweetie, attack however you like or when you have feel ready, says Jack confidently. Certainly this turtle guy, he's gotten more irritating over the years and I already want it to be my turn to crush him with. I will keep watching. Apollon could no longer tolerate Jack's arrogance and immediately points her wand at Jack and casts the spell. The spell hits the translucent sphere powerfully, but as if it were nothing, the translucent sphere remained without any fissures. Oh, that's how he reflects it and defends himself from spells. It's pretty interesting and it's a very cheeky stunt. I'll keep watching. Wow, your first attack isn't bad at all, but you'll need a lot more power if you want to break my Protego and beat me, says Jack. Clearly he was doing it on purpose to annoy his opponent. Apollon fiercely casts 6 spells in a row. To be continue. Comment. 2 comments. Vote. Chapter 32, 1970-12 World Duel Championship. Chapter 32, 1970-12 World Duel Championship. A continuation. Apollon fiercely casts 6 spells in a row in the direction of Jack, and immediately you could see the spells successively impacting the translucent sphere, but the translucent sphere seemed immovable and impenetrable. The crowd in the stands, delighted to see something new, shouted in a standing ovation, Jack, 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 Jack. Wow, oh for Merlin, what a scary witch, I'm almost afraid of you, but those spells still lack power, says Jack with a smile, but you could see that he was taking it easy. Apollon was clear that the man in front of her did something with the translucent sphere and why, when it hit the spells they twisted, but she couldn't say what it was or how she managed to withstand the impact without breaking the translucent sphere. You are a magician specialized in defense, right? Asks Apollon. Clearly had heard rumors of people who only focused and specialized in a certain magical branch. But they did it with dedication and they were incredible in those branches of magic. Ah, I am surprised that you know about me. The truth, since Max defeated me and snatched the title of champion from me long ago, and I have perfected my spells, to such a degree that it is almost impossible to dispel. Well, at least I have not found anyone to dispel it for the moment, replies Jack. Makes it sound like I've stolen the title of World Dueling Champion. What a jerk. Let it be my turn and I'll show you a world of pain. So that's why you kindly offered me 20 attacks, asks Apollon. No, I did it because I wanted to give you the opportunity to demonstrate your power, replies Jack honestly. You were he World Dueling Champion, asked Apollon. Yes, he was, but by being defeated by Max, it opened a path of opportunity to improve myself in magic and spells, replied Jack. Then, I can only attack, and if at the end of the 20 attacks I cannot knock down your shield, I will surrender, saying Apollon. Clearly there was no point in continuing if she couldn't knock down her opponent's spell. You can try, beautiful, says Jack confidently. Apollon concentrates and points her wand at Jack and casts 4 spells in sequence, and the sound of the impacts was great. But Apollon could tell that the cursed Protego was still active, and immediately fired from his wand 4 reducing spells, and the public could watch Apollon's efforts. He was clearly giving it his all, but his rival Jack was in a different league. When observing that he was being distracted, he casts the auxiliary spell. Feeling his mind clear of unnecessary thoughts, he prepares and points his wand towards Jack. You could noticeably observe the impact of the two powerful explosions, one larger than the other, but it was a failure because the Protego spell was still active. Apollon decides not to make a fool of herself and says with a sigh, "I give up. I wish you luck in your next duel." When he said that, he left the platform. She clearly didn't want to stay and embarrass herself. "Thank you, you are a very powerful witch, but you are not very versatile. You must train your spells more and add peculiar spells to your repertoire," says Jack in a low and high voice, as if Apollon were giving him a hint. Jojo the bastard speaks like an expert, and it is said by the man who only knew defensive spells. "I will keep watching." Apollon stops, turns around, and watches Jack nodding his head. But she turns around and keeps walking. Soon she enters through the entrance of the participants and disappears from everyone's sight. Aberforth was a bit shocked by Jack's defensive spell, because she did something that no one had ever done, and that was to perfect the Protego spell to perfection. And it says the winner is Jack Dukenhammer. Public in the stands was excited. Jack, 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 Jack. Jack in the middle of the platform was delighted by the applause of the audience. He clearly missed the lively inhabitant, and as a sign of approval he raised his fist in the air while laughing. "Ha ha ha, that was super. I wonder what it will feel like, and maybe I'll try." The crowd in the stands was in awe that their cheers were answered, and so they became more intense in their cheers. "Jack, Jack, 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 Jack." Jack uses and leaves the platform, not giving our poor host Arman a chance to ask anything, who was in a corner and quite astonished. "In your face, Arman, ha ha ha, that passes for gossiper." Point of view of a unknown. "Albus, are you sure that girl came to this epoch of time, with the time turner?" asked the stranger. "Yes, Scorpius, I'm sure, and what I don't understand is why that girl has kidnapped James," Albus replies. "She said something about warning someone in this timeline of calamity, which we are going to face in the future," says Scorpius. "But who is he going to turn to at this epoch of time? And there is only a few powerful magicians," says Albus. "In that you are wrong. My father told me that there is a very powerful pure-blood wizard at this time, and he was the one who built Heligdom, the magical city," says Scorpius. "You know, that magical city is controlled by neutral magical families, and they do not allow entry to anyone they do not trust," says Albus. "In that you are wrong. The neutrals became so powerful it was because of that wizard, and he is very hated in the British magic community, because he was the one who discredited Albus Dumbledore, and after that he retired," says Scorpius. "I think you have more knowledge than I do when it comes to pure-blood noble families and where we are, by the way," asks Albus. "Albus, I think we're in France, and I'm not sure since I don't see any magicians around here," says Scorpius. "Look, there's someone there, let's ask him, Albus." "Sure, come on, Scorpius." They approach a man who seems to be an Auror. He was clearly on guard duty, and the question man increases his vigilance when he sees two young wizards approaching them. "Who are you? Identify yourself." "Sorry sir, we got lost and there was no one to ask for an address," says Scorpius. "Oh, they must be here to go see the World Dueling Championship, right?" says the Auror, and tells him the address. "Come, that gigantic building over there. Well, there is the championship, and they must go fast because if they don't hurry they will lose the championship. They are lucky guys, because I am already finished my watch and it would take about 30 minutes for another Auror to replace me." "Thank you sir," says Scorpius. Both young men are going to the direction of the tournament. To be continued in the next chapter. Comment. 5 comments. Vote. Chapter 33, A Crack in the Timeline. Chapter 33, A Crack in the Timeline. A continuation. Hi guys, I'm Max, your favorite fictional protagonist, and I'm currently watching The Last Duel. Oh yeah, my turn is coming. Host Arman says excitedly they're ready to watch the 2 remaining matches. Excited audience shouted we are ready. Host Arman says our next contestant is a lady, from Japan, Miss Setsune Sagamura. From the entrance of the participants, a beautiful young Asian woman could be seen, of a height of 1.67 centimeter, of a slender figure, straight black hair, black eyes, beautiful features of an Asian woman, of a playful attitude or aura. She was dressed in a beautiful traditional pink kimono printed with different colored flowers. Hello handsome, you should call my opponent, Setsune says in a flirtatious and playful tone. Poor Arman was a lonely single man, seeing that a beautiful girl flirt with him. Of course he will answer, of course beautiful, and then if you want we can get to know each other better. Sheh that Arman guy doesn't change her ways. I kept watching the drama unfolding on the platform. Ara, Mr. Arman is hinting that I have a chance to marry you, Setsune says in a flirtatious, seductive and playful tone. Of course beautiful, you have a lot of opportunity, says Arman. Aberforth, observing that the host Arman and her duties were forgotten, he interrupts and says, Arman, announce the next competitor. Oh thank you Aberforth, I certainly won't forget to give you a bonus on your salary. I kept watching. Sure, I forgot, ha ha, Arman replies. Clearly her face was a little embarrassed to be interrupted, but he says the next contestant is from China. Loud applause to Miss Sung Meiling. From the entrance you could see a tall Asian woman of about 177 centimeters, with a slender figure, straight black hair with an imperial-style bun, black eyes, beautiful Asian facial features. He wore a traditional sky blue hanfu, without any flashy ornaments. Approaching Meiling says, let's get started. Of course, and now to witness this match, our dear referee Aberforth Dumbledore, says Arman excitedly. Aberforth walks up to the middle platform between the 2 witches and says, I want an honorable and fair duel. You can only win the duel by stunning, wounding or your opponent surrendering, and you cannot kill the opponent, it is understood. Setsune and Meiling answer yes/yes. Both competitors present their wands, in keeping with the tradition of dueling. They turn around and walk the 10 steps, then they turn and look into each other's eyes with great battle intent. When the bell rings the duel begins, says Arman. Ting, ting. While I was watching the duel from my private box and regretting that I had to wait my turn, something unexpected happened because I felt a crack in time. That only happens when some clumsy or idiot forcibly travels in time. Using my super incredible skills from the Magic Path library, I was able to perceive 3 cracks in 3 different places, of which one was in London, the other was in Diagon Alley specifically, and the last one being the one perceiving, because it is so close from where I was. With nothing else to do to kill my boredom and curiosity, I set about investigating who was the clumsy that would open a crack near me. Placing 2 fingers on my forehead and closing one eye, I used my personal spell towards the nearby time rift, and I could see 2 young wizards entering the stadium. With honesty, I felt like I had seen them somewhere. But he didn't remember them. I use again towards London, and I can observe a witch dragging a young wizard. It honestly looked like a romantic kidnapping scene, as the witch was arguing about something and the wizard was yelling back at her. But there was something about the witch that made her very familiar to me, but I could guess. At some point the witch felt like she was being watched and cast a spell that almost broke the connection with my spell. The strange thing and the most remarkable thing is that he looked in my direction with a nostalgic smile. Another peculiar thing is that the spell I cast was created by me. A second later I felt that the witch uses the spell to connect her mind with mine, something similar to telepathy, but because of the long distance she could not do it and she lacks magic. I think she will come to France as she was watching with her eyes in my direction. I think I know who it is, but it's better to confirm later. Placing my 2 fingers on my forehead again and closing one eye and using my spell towards the time crack in diagonally, when observing I could see 2 wizards older than 30 to 40 years and a witch of 30 to 40 years, but I knew this trio and well it's better not to get involved in this shit. But just as I said those words, I felt another crack in time, but this one was something different and in a nutshell it was sinister and evil. Observing with me puzzled was that he was a man who did not look human. Concentrating, I teleport to the place behind the man and launch a powerful and modified. The man in question falls to the ground like lead and throws another at him. Just in case he was pretending to be passed out, since in magic you can never be entirely sure and it's better to be safe than to make a rookie mistake. With telekinesis I strip the man of all his objects. When inspecting the objects, I realized that I had never seen anything like it and well with curiosity I use for the first time the touch of the magic library on the man's boots and something comes out. Unknown boots. Range. Running speed attributes 13%. Balance attribute 5%. Item note, of unknown origin, a demonic aura is felt on the item. Clearly someone wanted to interrupt my tranquility, but as I am going to allow that to happen, I throw at the poor devil man one of the most useful magic in the world, Harry Potter, since with this magic there is no impossible interrogation. And I immediately see his memories and every dirty secret he has. And it turns out that I discovered that the bastard Albus Dumbledore was bored and decided to study a passage to another dimension or another plane. This dimension was a demonic one and Albus, without exploring anything, I seal the crack. The problem is that with old time Albus died and the crack seal began to open. The demons began to invade the magical world and the trio of Niamh as leaders of the light were decimated, but they gained some air and thanks to the neutral families took action on the matter. I think I should meet up with the Golden Trio and see what the fuck I'm getting into. I don't want to sound prejudiced about everyone's favorite Golden Trio, but they had so much potential, that it just got wasted and is painful to see in the movie. So I teleport where the witch and the kidnapped boy were. I must know all the circumstances. When I arrive I see that you are arguing. Silly, you think my grandfather is useless like your father. My grandfather is the most powerful wizard in history and the fact that you don't know him, you mean that you are a low-class wizard, says the witch in a mocking tone. How dare you insult my father? He was the boy who lived and the one who defeated the Dark Lord Voldemort, says the young wizard. You know, silly, I love you, but in this we have different points of view and I am more powerful than you, says the witch. What a couple of interesting young people, then you must have been my granddaughter. Since I feel the smell of a Dovahkiin in you I tell them to get their attention. Who you are? The young wizard says, surprised. Grandpa, says the witch excitedly and jumps hugging me excitedly. What, is he your grandfather? Asks the young man. We'll continue in the next chapter. Comment. 27 comments. Vote. Chapter 34, Chapter 34, A Crack in the Timeline 2. Chapter 34, A Crack in the Timeline 2. A continuation. Point of view maximum. Hello friends, it's me Max, and as you know in the previous chapter some clumsy and idiots traveled in time. I will just tell you that I currently have in front of my supposed granddaughter and honestly I don't like it at all, that my granddaughter is romantically involved with a Potter. But I have to see everything from various perspectives and angles, to give my opinion. Well, that's me, so why did they come from the future? I say, asking, but I was thinking, the boy is average, he is barely approaching the second magic stage, and the witch who claims to be my granddaughter, is a different story, is almost close to the third magic stage. You must help us, Grandpa, says the excited witch. The demons invaded us and nobody knows who did it or how it happened. Well, I captured and kindly interrogated this gentleman here. From his answers he more or less told me that a wizard named Albus Dumbledore opened the doors to paradise and now they like this world. I say that as I throw the man to the ground. Poor demon. What, you captured him alive and is General Sarkin, says the young wizard incredulously. He, I told you. My grandfather is the most powerful wizard in the world, says the smug witch. Okay, enough arguing. Do you guys know this demon Sarkin? I mean, but inside I was thinking, what the fuck, this weak boy was a general and how low have current witches and wizards fallen? If this is a general and he is very infamous, he has killed many wizards and witches, says the young wizard. Grandpa, do not pout. The truth is we are not weak, and what happened was that these guys infiltrated the magical community and stole a lot of knowledge and resources, says the witch, clearly did not want me to judge her. I know you girl are powerful, in about 6 months you could break into the third magic stage, I say, but the problem is that you are my descendant and it is obvious that there is a very big gap with other magicians. Grandpa says that. But I know you think that we are weak and incompetent and I don't want you to have a bad opinion of James, says the witch. Okay, I admit, I was thinking exactly that, and by the way, what's your name, my granddaughter? I say and think, I already have a bad opinion that boy is a Potter. You named me the day I was born, Iris Morrigan Dovahkian, in honor and respect of my ancestors, Iris says proudly, and clearly loved the name I gave her. Oh Iris, a beautiful name, I say, and continue. Now can you explain to me, how these demonic types stole the resources and knowledge from the magicians? And wait, we are not alone, saying that abruptly and disappearing from the sight of the young people. As I teleported behind the intruders, I glanced at the golden trio that was looking for someone. I immediately threw 3 at them and 3 bodies fell to the ground like lead. Like I always say, the precautions of being cautious in life helps you live longer, and also in magic, there you have to be cautious in every step you take. I think I will teach my descendants my philosophy of top off to be safe. I fire a second round of Desmayus at the bodies and with telekinesis I strip them of their wands and magic items. I levitated all 3 bodies and walked towards a James and an Iris, incredulous and surprised. Impossible. You defeated my aunt and my father, also my uncle, but it's okay since he always gets hurt and defeated. But they were defeated as if they were nothing, and they are the strongest magicians of light, asked a James. Oh, it was your father. He is certainly a peculiar magician. He is in the low 4th magic stage and very close to reaching medium level. You should be proud you have so powerful. What, you're making fun of me, and my dad is the leader of the light, says James. Boy, I hope that in the future you will change your attitude a bit, and the fact that you have not seen something or someone not do something, does not mean that it does not exist, I say in a cold and serious tone. I certainly have to educate this ignorant boy. Sorry sir, says James, he was clearly thinking my words. Grandpa, don't intimidate James or I'm going to get mad at you and not talk to you anymore, says Iris, worried about James. Having grandchildren seems incredibly tedious, and maybe it's because I have no experience. I think and tell them clearly I was giving you some advice. Where did you see your grandfather bullying your little boyfriend? You could see the faces of both young people blushing, they were clearly in love, and I think I know what is happening here. I am the leader of the neutral wizards and Harry is the leader of the wizards light. I can assume that we do not have a very good relationship. And it is obvious that the neutrals prospered under my command and the common wizards lagged behind. Or it's pretty obvious, the ones that followed Albus and Voldemort are now being slaughtered while they didn't prosper, and these guys from the demon plane are killing the group of light with ease. And if my intelligence does not fail me, my dear granddaughter wants me to help them, and apparently I have gone somewhere where she cannot find me or communicate. Let's wake up these three and to confirm why they were following them, I say. Sure, Grandpa, says Iris. Casts the spell and counter-spell. To cast the spell, a light comes out of the tip of the wand and the bodies fall, but nothing happens. It is clear that the effect of my spell is a little stronger. Put a little more magic on it and imagine that it gives it more magic and power, I say, guiding my granddaughter. It's okay, Grandpa, says Iris, and immediately casts the spell. The woman wakes up and looks around vigilantly. When her gaze turned in my direction, she was clearly surprised she knew me. Aunt, how are you feeling? Iris's grandfather hit you with the Dismaeus spell, asks James worriedly. I'm not fine, it's just that Mr. Maximilian has not aged at all, and he was the first wizard I observed when I first attended my first year at Hogwarts, since he was in the Dripping Cauldron, and he performed a very beautiful spell, he says. Hermione. It seems that you are the one with the most alert mind of your group, I say, and think, oh, how I thought I met her before. Really, ha ha. Thank you very much, sir, says Hermione excitedly, and apparently I'm Hermione's idol. Have you read my books? I asked out of curiosity. Of course it is, although they are difficult to obtain these days, and especially the 18 volumes of White Rituals Magic, he says with pity. And what's your name? I ask. I'm Hermione Jean Granger, replies Hermione. Nice to meet you, Hermione, and by chance, are you related to Potions Master Hector Dagworth Granger? I ask him. This is the second time I've been asked the same questions, and I really don't know, Hermione says curiously. Well, maybe you can take an inheritance test at the Gringotts and they'll easily tell you if they are related, I suggested to Hermione. Really, says Hermione. Let's move to another location, I say while preparing. To be continued in the next chapter. Comment. 13 comments. Vote. Chapter 35, Chapter 35, It's My Turn. Chapter 35, It's My Turn. In the previous chapter. Well, maybe you can do an inheritance test at Gringotts and they'll easily tell you if they are related, I suggested to Hermione. Really, says Hermione. Let's move to another location, I say while preparing. A continuation. Max's point of view. Let's move to another location, I say while preparing a nonverbal spell, which I believe called. This spell creates a portal with a black vortex, and when it opens it connects to the other side, which is where it wants to go. When I turned around, I could see the open mouths of the group and I said, well, let's go. How did you do that? Hermione asked, very shocked. It's a spell created by me, I say as I look at the dueling platform. You can see that the smiling woman. Where are we? It's a Quidditch match. Hermione asks with vigilance. I think we are in France, says Iris, and continues, I know that grandfather participated in many championships and this must be the 1970 championship in France. This is amazing. Is this what all dueling championships are like? James asks. Clearly he was in awe. It is quite modest for the time. They will become much more extravagant as time goes by and many more people will come for the championship, answers Iris, and continues, in years to come this epoch time will be known as the beginning of the golden age of the duels. Wow, amazing. Why didn't I know about this? James asks. This is because many countries offer large amounts for the event to take place in their country, answers Iris as if James were illuminated, and continues, since the profits produced by tourism, lodging and resource consumption are astronomical. Wow, amazing. James responds. And the reason why you didn't know, is because Britain never wanted to get involved with the Dueling Federation, and it was founded in 1977. Iris replied, clearly she is a very cultured witch. What? But how is it possible? And how is it that Britain does not participate? Hermione asks, clearly she has been Deputy Minister of Great Britain and did not know about this. Well, there were countries that did not join the Dueling Federation, and those countries cannot enjoy the benefits, responds Iris, and continues saying the benefits that the dueling tournaments and world championships brought were of great benefit to politics and economy of those countries, since connections and juicy contracts for resources were formed. This is unfair. Hermione says. Well, it may be a bit unfair, but this was done by the wizard named Albus Dumbledore, as he was very jealous of the fame of his younger brother Aberforth Dumbledore, who enjoyed the recognition of the wizarding community, being one of the 10 arbiters of fairer duels in the magical world. What, that old Aberforth, is he more famous than his brother? Hermione asked. Yes, and he is a successful businessman, since he opened taverns all over the wizarding world, answers Iris. No. I can't create it. This is a dream. And I must have fallen asleep, Hermione says negatively, clearly it was a hard blow for her. It's the truth, and if you can't believe me, says Iris, and continues, then I can't help you. I'm sorry, it's just too much information that I didn't know, Hermione says, trying to soothe. That is the problem with Great Britain, we are always cut off from the rest of the world and we only focus on our own country, I say seriously. If it is true, Hermione, as the British Minister of Magic, I have seen that deal with international countries and they treat us like peasants who know nothing, says Hermione. Clearly she had had her bad days as Minister of Magic. Oh. I think I should go down to participate in my duel. Wait here, I'll be back, I say, and I walk away. Iris point of view. Good luck, Grandpa. I say excitedly, clearly I have never seen her grandfather fight, since when she was born, her grandfather had already retired and he was announced as the best duelist in magical history. Why are you so excited, Iris? James asks, clearly he had never seen his girlfriend. Just watch this duel and you will understand, Iris answers with her eyes focused on the platform. Hermione and James, observing Iris concentrated on the dueling platform, decide to observe as well. Max's point of view. Well, at last it is my turn, they are already announcing my speaker. I was thinking of making an incredible entrance and I came up with an idea to launch my patronym, and immediately you could see a 40-meter-tall golden European dragon looking for enemies. If I may describe it, it looked like a European dragon, with beautiful golden scales, 2 legs, and 2 clawed arms. It certainly looked impressive. It was like it was made of pure gold, and I wondered if my animagus transformation would look the same. A curious fact is that the Dovahkiin have always had dragon patronym. Seeing no enemies, it quickly shrinks to a size of about 10 feet, and I came up with a brilliant idea. I open a portal at high altitude above the stadium and leave my patronym, flying in the sky above the stadium. I apply more magic and happy feelings to it so that it grows up to about 90 meters. I hope the host says my name to start the show. Don't judge me, I just copy the fabulous idea of the WWE guys. Why good, thanks to their flashy entries, they have earned their fame and glory, and because I cannot do the same with duels, It just requires a little magic here and there. Bang, a crowd elated with fanaticism. The host will announce me. Wizards and witches from all over the world. It is an honor and a privilege to announce the next participant. Many call him in different ways. We have the privilege of calling him the Tyrann, says Aman, pausing. With a smile he tells the audience, I'm going to need your help to summon the tyrant. On the count of 3 we called him together, says Aman with a sly smile, clearly wanting the audience to get involved. 1, 2, 3. Let's welcome him. Dueling Emperor. Tyrant. Maximilian Stephen Dovahkiin, says Aman with a great frenzy and euphoria. Public in the stands stimulated by the host's words in a great ovation and shouts, Tyrant, 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 Tyrant. Looking at the sight of such an excited audience, he smiled, and I see the sky. And pointing with my hand, I cast the spell, adding a dark and lightning weather atmosphere. It almost felt like an apocalyptic environment. The audience in the stands was stunned when they watched the lightning thunder in the dark sky. When they looked at the dark sky with amazement, they could see a very large colossal being that was approaching, or rather, I fell down towards the platform, accompanied by lightning bolts and a majestic and tyrannical roar. Many wizards and witches in the stands almost had a heart attack, as, observing the beast that descended at great speed and became bigger and bigger. The entire audience in the stands had their hand on his chest. Clearly they had never seen this creature, and the most remarkable thing is that it was a golden dragon. Little by little the astonished atmosphere was becoming happy. It was a pleasant feeling. Some magicians realized that the beast was an extremely large patronym. Little by little, without anyone noticing, a scene was taking place on the platform, and there was a dense fog and a silhouette could be seen. It's my turn, says the voice. To be continued in the next chapter. Comment. 21 comments. Vote. Chapter 36, Chapter 36, Demonstrating Skill. Chapter 36, Demonstrating Skill. In previous chapters, little by little, without anyone noticing, a scene was taking place on the platform, and there was a dense fog and a silhouette could be seen. It's my turn, says the voice. A continuation. It's my turn, says the voice, saying that the dragon lands on the platform and magically dissipates. But if you looked at the platform, there was a 195 centimeters man, hair golden, eyes golden. He wore a Victorian costume, unadorned black. Yes, it was Max. Max's point of view. After my big dramatic and eye-catching entry, I felt like John Cena entering the ring, raising my fist. Suddenly roar is heard. The public, quite excited by the super striking entrance, innovation, they shouted, Tyrant, 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 Tyrant. Host Aman approached me excitedly. It was clearly worth all his efforts. Champion, welcome. How do you feel? I feel good, although I want to ask you a question. Don't you smell the air? I ask him with a smile. I don't smell anything, Champion Aman says, playing along. And you in the stands, don't you smell the smell in the air? I ask the audience with a smile. The audience uniformly yells no. But, I smell the smell of beat up, I say, and keep asking. You are not. The excited audience yells beat up, clearly when one made a cheeky statement, these guys in the stands would get more excited and supportive. Look at my opponent. He was an African man named Ashanti Ghana 4, a common name in Africa, and of a height, 2 m. He was dressed in kanga, traditional orange color of his country. Imho, it was an incredibly striking target. Are you ready for this duel? I ask him in African language. Surprised that I knew their language, he tells me. Champion, it is an honor to fight with you. Win or lose, I will go home with a story to tell, Ashanti replied and beat his chest in respect. I close my eyes, thinking about his words, and clearly he was a man of very few words. You can then get ready, I say that and hit my chest in respect. Of course, and now to witness this epic match, our dear referee Aberforth Dumbledore, says Oman excitedly. Aberforth walks up to the middle platform between the two witches and says, I want an honorable and fair duel. You can only win the duel by stunning, wounding or your opponent surrendering, and you cannot kill the opponent, understood? Ashanti and I answer yes/yes. This got me thinking of the words Iris, as the Aberforth of the future apparently gained more fame than his brother and perhaps should promote him, with newspaper posts here and there, I think wickedly. We both present our wands, in keeping with the tradition of dueling. I measured half a turn and they walk the 10 steps, then they turn me around and look into the opponent's eyes with great battle intent. When the bell rings, the duel starts, says Oman. Ting, ting. I keep my wand in the holster of my hand, since you don't need a submachine gun to kill a duck, and so my opponent walks. I observe him throw at me, with my index finger I point A, before it hits and they repel each other. I push it to my left and keep moving forward with the same spell on my finger. My opponent quickly threw 2 at me, from my observation they were, and I gently moved my hand as if it were a whip and repelled before hitting to my right, again move my hand like a whip and repel in another to my left. My opponent was surprised by my reflexes, since I was very close to him, about 7 steps away, and without giving it a chance, he cast the Depulso spell that was already overloaded. At near impossible speed for the eye, he strikes the spell at Ashanti. As if caught by an invisible force, it is thrown backwards and collides heavily with the fence of the stands. Aberforth walks over and to see if he is able to continue. When seeing Ashanti is unconscious, he announces the winner of this duel is the Maximilian Dovahkian. Oh my Merlin! What a beating! The champion did not hold back at all, says Oman. The crowd in the stands, recovering from their surprise, began to shout with excitement, Tyrant! 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 Before someone asks me something, he cast the nonverbal spell, and it immediately rises from the ground, a 90-meter colossal golden dragon flying into the sky. When it rises to a certain height, it roars tyrannically. But now the champion had disappeared from the platform. Clearly the maddened crowd, Tyrant! 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 Hermione's POV. So Mr. Max is your grandfather? I ask, but I was thinking, I clearly never thought that this Iris girl was related to my idol, and clearly I must have guessed from his last name. Yes, he is my grandfather. Even when I went to study at Hogwarts, he went with my grandmothers to another place and no one could tell me where they went, Iris replied, without taking her eyes off the platform, and continued, but knowing my grandfather, it was surely an adventure. Suddenly roar is heard. Tyrant! 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 And you hear a crowd. Ron and Harry are awakened by the roar. Where we are? Harry asks, looking around puzzled. What is that thing? Asks a very surprised Ron. Oh guys, finally wake up, we're in France watching the World Dueling Championship, I say while thinking, I always thought she was a powerful witch, but seeing how easily Mr. Dovahkian stunned Harry, Ron and me, I have begun to doubt it. How did we get here? Harry asks. Mr. Dovahkiin stunned us, I say. That conceited idiot stun us? Asked my husband Ron. Clearly I was quite surprised, and I can understand why we only felt our sight become obscured and we fell to the ground, passed out to the ground. The worst thing is that we didn't even realize it. Suddenly, the audience could be heard excited and shouting, beating, beating, beating. Looking at the platform I see Mr. Max. He is clearly speaking with his opponent in the African language, and I never thought of studying another language, apart from French, English and Latin. I certainly discovered something new about my idol. It made me very happy, and it's not that I blindly follow an idol. It's just that after the Gilderoy Lockhart fiasco I was disappointed in authority figures and went out for a walk around Hogsmeade. On the ledge of my favorite bookstore I was able to look at a book that I hadn't seen, but it was incredibly expensive. Certainly not it was a book that any wizard or witch could afford. On the cover of the book a photo of Mr. Max. I clearly recognized him, and it was because he was the same wizard that I saw when I entered the Leaky Cauldron and saw the magical world for the first time. He left a great impression on me, and when I returned to Hogwarts I asked Madame Pince about the book, of which she told me excitedly. He said that his books were not allowed at Hogwarts, plus most of those books were very expensive, almost 3,000 galleons per book. I was shocked. I never saw such an expensive book. I asked him why, and he told me that the man was a legend and a teacher in many magical branches. He was also 60 years old, but he looked 20 years old, and that was because of his own work, thanks a branch magical that he created, the magic of white rituals, and with it you could live 500 years and see yourself young. Certainly that day my perception of the magical world changed. And I thought he would covet his knowledge like Nicola Flamel did, but not my idol published it in books that spanned 18 wonderful volumes, plus he was the creator of the Werewolf Annihilator potion. He had certainly contributed to the world magical community, and his books were adored by the entire global magical world, translated into many languages. The worst thing is that he never asked for an award and was never given one. He was such an incredible man that when he saw the war, he gathered the magical innocents, he sheltered them in the city that he created to keep them safe. Leaving my thoughts I see platform. Duel is about to begin. To be continue. Comment. 16 comments. Vote. Chapter 37, Chapter 37, Grandpa you are the best. Chapter 37, Grandpa you are the best. In previous chapter, he had certainly contributed to the world magical community, and his books were adored by the entire global magical world, translated into many languages. The worst thing is that he never asked for an award and was never given one. He was such an incredible man that when he saw the war, he gathered the magical innocents, he sheltered them in the city that he created to keep them safe. As I leave my thoughts, I observe the dueling platform and I realize that the duel is about to begin. A continuation. Hermione's POV. As I leave my thoughts, I look at the dueling platform and realize that the duel is about to begin. Ting, ting. When the bell rings, I see that he guards his wand in its holster and I immediately think he is going to lose, but I saw Iris excited. Grandpa is going to do wandless magic, don't you miss it, James? Says an excited Iris. Oh seriously? Says James. Oh, wandless magic, which is only something that Albus and Voldemort could do at will, and I feel like the world has gotten bigger, I think, as I watch the duel. I saw his opponent cast Harry's favorite spell, and with a simple movement of his index finger, I saw a spell appear with nonverbal magic. I think it is, I never used it much. But seeing Mr. Max use it, I suppose he should practice it, and clearly the spell was very useful. I could see how he moved his hand like a whip. In a very elegant movement, he repelled the spell to his left, while he walked towards his opponent. His opponent casts a spell that is one of my favorites, and at a speed that I never thought possible, he moved his hand in a beautiful and graceful movement, repelling the spell to his right and moving his hand without interrupting the rhythm. He repelled the spell to his left. It was too much for me, but the matter was not over. With the same that repelled the spells, attacked his opponent, what shot out at an incredibly fast speed and hit him. The poor boy shot out of revulsion and hit the wall of the stands and was unconscious. He clearly never had a chance. The winner of this duel is Maximilian Dovahkian, announces old Aberforth. Then to the host, talking excited. Oh my Merlin! What a beating! The champion did not hold back at all, says host. I could see the excited and victorious audience getting their nickname Tyrant. Tyrant, tyrant, tyrant. Before someone asked him something, I saw in that the platform, from the ground emerged an immense creature more than 90 meters. It was a magnificent golden dragon. As it rises high enough in the sky, it roars tyrannically, and that even my eardrums hurt. But when looking at the platform again, Mr. Max was no longer there, as if he were a legend, who only appeared if he summoned him for a duel. And when he finished he left. Ha ha ha, I knew it. Grandfather is the best in the world, says Iris, as if she knew that her grandfather would win, but she didn't know how he did it. Certainly, your grandfather is incredible, says James, excited. This is impossible. How did he do it? Says Ron incredulously. He's a very powerful wizard, says Harry. Over the years he has become serious and very responsible. Point of view of Max. Hi guys, it's me Max. Here I am in this debacle of a rift in the timeline, and I'll be honest with you, if someone had asked me that the Golden Trio would appear in the year 1970, I will tell you that you are absolutely crazy. But magic has its ways of kicking you in the balls. Now I am behind this group of clumsy who traveled in time. I am listening to them speak. Honestly, Ron is a jerk. Harry seems like the blows of life have molded him for the better, and Hermione honestly always looks up to this girl. Because if it weren't for her, there wouldn't be a Harry Potter and the Sagas movie. Hermione was either the smartest of the bunch or the know-it-all, but she wasted a lot of her potential helping these guys. Listening to his talk I only feel a headache. I will have to dispatch these guys quickly and rest comfortably in my Villa Dragala. Ha ha ha, I knew it. Grandfather is the best in the world, says Iris, as if she knew that her grandfather would win, but she didn't know how he did it. Certainly, your grandfather is incredible, says James, excited. This is impossible. How did he do it? Says Ron incredulously. He's a very powerful wizard, says Harry. Over the years he has become serious and very responsible. Looks like these two sleepers woke up and never would have woken up in the past, you know. By the way, what are you doing here on my timeline? I ask. Mr. Max, we followed two children who stole a special time turner from the British Ministry, and we followed them to your timeline, says Hermione, clearly detailing the matter in a simplified way. I get it, I said in a serious tone and with little magic. Suddenly a house elf appears in Victorian butler clothes. Lacus, bowing gracefully, says, "How can I help you, Master Dragon?" James, Hermione, Ron and Harry stared at the house elf in amazement, since they had never seen a house elf so elegantly dressed and with noble etiquette. And the most remarkable thing is that he looked very proud. "Lacus," search the public for these two young wizards and bring them here with their friends, I said in a serious and authoritative tone. I showed him the photo of the boys. It will be done, Master Dragon, says Lacus and disappears from place. Excuse me, Mr. Max, but that was a house elf, asks Hermione. Yes, his name is Lacus, he is my servant and my loyal butler, I reply. But why is he so different from other house elves? Hermione asks, clearly wanting to know more about the matter. Each noble and ancestral house has its customs and traditions. The noble and ancestral house Dovahkiin has the custom of treating their servants differently, I reply. But I don't understand, why are they different? Hermione asks. It is easy to answer. It is because the grandfather educated and corrected the etiquette of two young elves and molded them to the standards of the noble and ancestral house of the Dovahkiin, answers Iris. Clearly, he was a well-trained Dovahkiin. Miss Hermione, picture you have a pet and that pet, you feed it, dress it and give it a good training. That pet, seeing the care and well-being that you provide, will respond to you with loyalty and in some moment of need, she would save you from danger, I said seriously. Oh, it's that simple and now I get it, says Hermione. Most magicians treat their house elves very badly, says Iris and continues, but the noble and ancestral house of the Dovahkiin treats them as members of the Dovahkiin house, and that is because they are invaluable members of the family. Oh, but not all noble houses are like that, I say seriously. I was thinking, Lacus, he is taking time with his task. Suddenly an elf appears with two unconscious boys, put the two boys on the ground and kneels in front of me and says, Master Dragon, there were unforeseen complications, Lacus says in a humble and servile tone. What were the unforeseen? I ask him in a serious tone. The two young wizards did not want to cooperate and I had to knock them out, Master Dragon, says Lacus. Clearly, he did his duty according to his criteria, but he had to explain the reason to his master. It's not important. Excellent, good work, and you can retreat, I say. Thank you, Master Dragon, Lacus says and disappears from the place. Iris, wake up these two children, I say to my granddaughter. Sure, Grandpa, says Iris, casts a spell and wakes them up. Where we are? Albus. I think we're in trouble, Albus, says Scorpion. Of course, they are in trouble, Harry answers with a serious and a little angry tone and continues, Albus, what were you thinking and why did you come to the past with the time turner? Dad, I came looking for James, who was kidnapped by that Iris girl over there and who took him away. By the time we tracked them down we discovered that he had used a time turner and so we decided to follow them. By the time we realized we were on this timeline, Albus replied seriously. Well, let's go back to the future, says Ron, clearly in a bad mood. Sure, let's go, says Hermione. She knew her husband was in a bad mood, because they kicked his butt and he couldn't help it. Before you go, take this guy, saying levitate the body of the demon Sarkhan. Is he unconscious or is he dazed? Hermione asked cautiously. What, how did this guy get here? Says Ron, clearly his perception of the world was very narrow. How did you capture him, Mr. Max? Harry asked. It was very simple. I cast the Dismaeus spell on him and he fell to the ground like lead, I replied with a smile. I understand, Mr. Max, we will take him, says Harry. The group ties the chain of the time turner around their necks. Grandpa, you are the best in the world, says Iris, before the grey flash disappears. Comment. 19 comments. Vote. Chapter 38. Chapter 38, A Man of Enduring and Taking Advantage of Circumstances. Chapter 38, A Man of Enduring and Taking Advantage of Circumstances. Hello friends. It's me, Max, your favorite fictional protagonist. Currently I am in my private box, seeing the place where my granddaughter disappeared and turned the clumsy who traveled time. I was thinking about what kind of shit I will get into in the future. I can only take precautions and prepare my descendants for the matter. Certainly, I could trace and seal the passage to the demon plane, but I'm too lazy to do so. Besides, it was all that old Albus' fault and I can't go through life cleaning up all his shit. While thinking about what kind of shit would happen in the future and how unfortunate I am, suddenly, 4 beautiful intruders enter my private box, holding me down and restricting my movements. I knew I could free myself from my restrictions at any moment, but I decided to observe what the 4 women it was planned for my subject it tight, Sissy. So he doesn't move, says Dora. I already have subject it, sister, says Sissy. Can you tell me what you are doing, girls? He asked in a high voice, pretending and acting surprised. Oh dear husband, we the sisters, we have decided to torture you with sexual pleasure, until you accept our 5th sister Tatiana, says Bellatrix, and in a sensual way, but with a lot of suspense. She clearly liked the idea of torturing me. I, on the other hand, raise my left eyebrow in a questioning way, and it's because I won't tell you my real thoughts. And I said, oh, you better let me go, girls, or things could get really bad for you four. You know, dear husband, Rita says as he runs his hand across my chest in a completely provocative and exciting way. And she continues saying, things are already very bad for you, husband, and you can only keep quiet like a good husband, bear all our ideas of torture. Upon hearing Rita's indecent proposal, I was puzzled, and it was because I wanted to know what he had planned for me, these 4 women. Suddenly I feel someone touch my lips. It was Andromeda. She liked to kiss and touch my lips. Clearly she had a little fetish. Bellatrix, me pull my pants down and she sit me on the couch in my private box. Then I see Sissy close the curtains and the thoughts in my brain run wildly. It was obvious that these women had this planned. Bellatrix puts my member in her mouth and licking it with her tongue in a circular way. Oh Merlin, give me strength, and little by little she begins to put it in her mouth, from top to bottom in a continuous way and without stopping, but slowly to excite me. Andromeda stands behind me in a slightly raised way in height, takes my face and tilts it up. She looks into my eyes and licks her lips, saying something provocative. It's time to taste these delicious and fleshy lips of yours, husband. At the end of her words, she kisses me intensely. I'll just tell you that I felt like Spider-Man and Mary Jane Watson when they kissed in movie. Then I feel Rita unbutton my shirt, starting to kiss and lick my neck. Once or twice she would come close to my ear, bite it blatantly, and I was already excited. Soon Sissy arrived, kneeling with her sister Bellatrix, and began to suck my balls. Oh Merlin or Morgan, help, because little by little, I'm falling into the trap of these 4 women. Rita asks, whispering it in my ear, do you agree that let's have a 5th sister, husband? But she said it in a way that was not a question. Rather, it seemed that they had already decided, and I could only say yes. Suddenly, I feel Rita shamelessly bite my right nipple and lick it, while stroking my abs with her hands. Little by little this brother was falling into temptation. Bellatrix, in an intense and accelerated movement, sucked my member in a very strong way. Clearly, she wanted me to ejaculate in her mouth. But this brother had her resistance. I was enjoying the attention my body was receiving, or as they call it, torture of sexual pleasure. Of course I couldn't move. I let these 4 women do what they want with me. Little by little, about 5 minutes passed. Let me tell you that this brother was at his limit. Little by little, I was squirming, clearly Bellatrix had improved in her blowjobs. But just when I'm in the last part, my excitement to ejaculate, Bellatrix shamelessly stops. She looks at me with a sadistic smile and says, "Husband, I can't let you ejaculate." "Why still? You haven't answered our question," saying while licking and kiss the tip of my member, but in each lick or kiss said a few words. Obviously the impudence of these 4 girls had risen to another level since we arrived in France, and it is not that I care. Clearly I am enjoying my sex life to the fullest. /n, this guy's thick face is unparalleled. I focus on my magic and guide it throughout my body. Obviously this brother will take revenge on these 4 cheeky women and I will enjoy the process, ha ha ha. With concentration and covertly I used my legendary technique, the Hands of the Void. Little by little and secretly, so that the 4 women would not notice, since they were very concentrated with their torture of sexual pleasure. I conducted my legendary technique, touching my girls' private parts in a light touch and as if stimulated the sound of a symphony orchestra. You could hear the melody of small, subtle moans here and there. The sound was very beautiful and exciting. Slowly but subtly I start to use my left hand in the direction of Rita's lower and intimate part. With an incredibly fast movement, I move my hand at a fast and constant speed. Rita gasped and said, "Husband, no, you can't do this." She had the cheeky witch, right where she wanted her. He. With my right hand and a little flexibility I moved my hand towards the lower and intimate part of Andromeda. With a constant speed I moved my fingers and once that other times I pinched her clitoris. "No, no, that's cheating, husband," says Andromeda with a gasp and excitement, while she kissed me even more intensely than before. With a bit of focus, I telekinesically moved various invisible hands towards Bellatrix's bottom and intimate part, moving my invisible fingers as if it were a vibrator. Bellatrix in gasp and excitement commented, "Husband, Chiara, no, you can, do that." With an interesting thought or idea. Plaff. There was a loud slap in the room and a scream. "Chiara." No, husband." No," says Bellatrix, gasping and excited. She liked when he was harsh and sadistic with her, if Bella was a masochist with sadistic tendencies. /n, lucky bastard. "Oh yeah, I'm going to slap your ass for being a naughty girl." Plaff. Paf. Plaff. Hearing the sound of a variety of slaps, given that sometimes he slapped her hard and other times without force, hearing gasps and moans of arousal from Bellatrix. Last but not least, I telekinesically moved various invisible hands towards Sissy, and she particularly liked it when she was pinched, bitten or squeezed hard. Moving my fingers with little force, with precise movements and with slow movements in the lower and intimate part of Sissy. You could hear the gasps and moans from Sissy. I command 2 invisible hands to touch and squeeze her butt, a form of massage. I notice that there was someone at the door spying on us. With a smile I placed a protective and silent barrier in the shape of a dome, around the voyeur, the girls and me. He obviously knew who the voyeur was. Little by little the intensity in the room increased. Let me tell you that the girls had their battle with the dragon. Another thing to say is that I won the battle, but I lost the war. To be continued in the next chapter. /n, hi guys, I hope you enjoyed the chapter. I wanted to dedicate this chapter to all the perverted bastards who say they can't write an adult scene. Thanks for the support. Comment. 20 comments. Vote. Chapter 39. Chapter 39. It's My Turn 2 and the Difficulties of a Single Man. Chapter 39, It's My Turn 2 and the Difficulties of a Single Man. Hello friends, it's me, Max, your favorite fictional protagonist, and I am currently in bad condition, because, well, let's say this brother was in an intimate battle with his wives and where he won the battle, but I lost the war with those girls. My private box smelled of semen here and there. It was certainly the smell of a great battle of passion. He. With little cleaning magic, I cleaned the area and saw my exhausted wives. The voyeur who was spying on us had already left, but I knew I would see that woman very soon. Currently I put my eyes on the dueling platform. The duels have just resumed about an hour ago, and for people to go buy drinks, food, or just go to the bathroom. It is currently my turn, but let me give you a summary. Round of 16. 1. Aziz Zala vs Tatiana Alionovna Romanova. Winner, Tatiana Alionovna Romanova. I'll tell you that Tatiana kicked Aziz's ass, much more humiliating than when she defeated old Walter, and a crushing victory on Tatiana's part, whether clearly she was on fire or in a hurry. Because, well, just maybe or maybe she was very excited to be on the voyeur. 2. Alphard Black vs Persephone Raptis. Winner, Persephone Raptis. The defeat of the poor man Alphard was because the man was weakened from using the support spell, and Persephone defeated him quickly, but was defeated with dignity. 3. Eleuterio Lindstrom vs Jack Dukenhammer. Winner, Jack Dukenhammer. It was an epic battle, of such magnitude that he bastard turtle. I had to admit that the old Eleuterio had his thing, and it was because somehow he managed to break his turtle shell and give him a battle. I thought Eleuterio would defeat him, because somehow during the match he managed to reach the 5th low magic stage, and he was surprised by his unexpected magic breakthrough, but Jack didn't give him a chance. 4. Sung Myling vs Maximilium. I am currently preparing to be named, to make an eye-catching entry and to be able to leave my beloved admirers and fans ecstatic. Point of view: Oman Valor Lignum. Work days like today are exhausting, but I have no alternative since my house owed a lot of money and the goblins bought the debt. Now I work for the goblins. You may not believe me, but this IT host makes a lot of money, and I really don't understand how I haven't been able to marry someone, but since last year the requirements of magical women increased. Yes, gentlemen, you listened to me correctly, and now it is very difficult to marry a witch. Why? The requirements of young witches are: first, there is the bastard of Maximilium, who is the ideal prince of every witch in the world. And how did that happen? Only Merlin would know the answer. /n, I know the answer. Ask me and I will answer you. He. Second, young witches look for you according to your achievements or titles. For example, you have 3 master's degrees in some magical branch, so I must congratulate you because you are an eligible candidate for husband. Also, if you have the famous masteries of white rituals, then you do not have to worry about anything, and why automatically the witches will come to you like bees to honey. /n, shit. It seems like life in the wizarding world is tough for singles without talents. Third, as you know, the magical world has changed and the economy is increasing, so you must have a financial backing or a plan for the future, because if you do not have it, unfortunately you will not be eligible for any sane and intelligent witch. /n, that's what is happening all over the world, friend. Fourth, because of the bastard Maximilium, many magicians have given ourselves the task of doing exercises to have abs and a good body, because if you don't have a good body now you are screwed. Well, unless you are a master of white rituals, then you don't have to worry about your looks, and it is because every witch's second dream, or rather her second option, is to marry a master of white rituals. /n, Who was the bastard who invented this white ritual thing? Oh, it was me, ahem. What an incredible thing I made up. If you manage to fulfill at least 2 of those requirements, I must congratulate you, since you are an eligible candidate for a husband and you are a good handbill for marriage. I am currently on the platform, watching people liven up the atmosphere, and clearly, I was looking forward to watching the last fight of the round of 16. Wizards and witches all over the world. I am pleased to announce the last showdown of the round of 16 round. Are you ready to see them? I ask in an emotional and exciting voice. The animated audience shouted in excitement, "We are ready, we are ready." I see my boss the Goblin, who tells me to hurry up, and since a short break is coming, where people can take the opportunity to buy their things. Let's welcome Miss Sung Myling, I say. From the entrance you could see Sung Myling walking. She wore a scarlet red traditional hamfu and striking ornaments in white flower patterns. Certainly she dressed as if she were an ancient Chinese empress. Don't start asking questions, please announce my opponent, Myling says. Clearly she didn't like the host's gossipy attitude. Sure, don't worry, I say with a smile. If he didn't pay me to do this, and I think about, all witches are very antisocial lately. You're thinking of something rude, right? Myling asks. What a bitch, it's better to finish fast, and I hope Maximilian will beat up this bitch, I think, and continue saying wizards and witches of the world. Glad to announce our champion. I make a dramatic pause and continue, but I ask for your help to summon our champion, and at the count of 3. 1. Tyrant, 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 shouts from the public. 2. Tyrant, 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 shouts from the public. 3. Tyrant, 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 shouts from the public. Let's welcome our champion. The tyrant. Maximilian Stephen Dovahkian. Suddenly, the clouds in the sky darkened and the atmosphere turned apocalyptic. Golden thunder and lightning rumbled in the sky. And as if that was not enough, the golden dragon 90 meters above was flying the stadium in circles and watching its prey on the platform. I have to admit that this host was a bit scared by the dragon. He also had to admit that the champion knew how to make a striking and realistic entrance in such a way that people were in suspense. The golden dragon roars tyrannically. On the platform, a golden mist began to appear, and little by little it spread throughout the place. At that moment the golden dragon that was flying in circles over the stadium plummeted towards the platform and plunged into the ground, disappearing from everyone's sight and leaving the silhouette of a man. Suddenly, a voice sounds breaking the silence of the striking entrance. It's my turn. Oh yes, he was champion Maximilian. Point of view Max. Ha ha ha, they missed me, it's me, Max, their favorite fictional protagonist, and I'm currently on the platform. I raise my fist in the air and order my patronym, which is on the ground, to roar with force. Tyrant, 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 I publish. I watch the audience turn euphoric and exalted by the striking entrance I made. I admit that I love doing this. Now I understand why those WWE guys always do. Now to witness this epic match, our dear referee, Aberforth Dumbledore, says a man excitedly. Aberforth walks up to the middle platform between us and says, I want an honorable and fair duel. You can only win the duel by stunning, wounding, or your opponent surrendering, and you cannot kill the opponent, understood? Myling and I answer yes/yes. We both present our wands, in keeping with the tradition of dueling. I measured my turn and walked the 10 steps, then turned and looked into my opponent's pretty eyes with great battle intent. When the bell rings, the duel starts, says Oman. Ting, ting. I keep my wand in its holster, which is in my left hand, and since I don't need a submachine gun to kill this beautiful swan, walks like this my opponent. I hope you are ready, Miss My Ling, I say in Chinese, with a smile of absolute confidence. A /N, cocky jerk, I gave you all your powers. My Ling takes out a tang sword, which she holds with her right hand, and with her left hand she holds the wand, taking a combat pose. And she says, this witch is ready to duel with you, champion. Then attack me whenever you like, I say as I walk towards her. My Ling approaches me and cuts me diagonally with her sword. I dodge to the right. He attacked her with, but the girl had a series of agile gaits and movements with her legs, managing to avoid the spell. Suddenly, she attacks me with her sword in a rather interesting movement and sending me more than 32 cuts at different angles with her tang sword. I use the spell with great power. Immediately a translucent sphere between white and blue is formed. You can hear the impacts of the cuts impacting on the translucent sphere. I realize that Miss My Ling attacks me with her wand with the spell. I saw that she was concentrating on her movement, and because she applied much more magic to her than normal. With a smile I apply more magic to the translucent sphere turns red, and the moment it hits, I use the spell. In a ghostly way I appear behind. Clearly she was distracted, or it was that my spell was very silent. But without giving it a chance, I cast the spell, and the spell hits My Ling's body. When she felt the impact of the spell, her eyes closed and she began to fall to the ground. As a gentleman that I am, I hold her by preventing her body from falling to the ground and carry her like a princess, while taking her to her recovery team, which was made up of many women. A /N, I don't know who you're kidding, but you don't fool me, you bastard, and it's obvious that you want to flirt with the woman Chinese. Aberforth, upon seeing the movements of the duel, declares the winner of this duel is Maximilian Dovahkian. In the center of the platform I was with a smile, and I looked towards the audience that was silent, as if they were waiting for something. I knew what they were waiting for, and with a smile I raised my fist to the air, and immediately a roar is heard. From the ground, a golden dragon flew into the sky, roaring tyrannically, and the crowd in the stands was excited, but when they looked at the platform, the tyrant had retreated. As if it were a legend who only comes for a duel and retires after the battle. Little by little the wizards and witches in the rostrum began to think that the young wizard Maximilian was a mythical being. The next chapter will continue. /N, I would like to thank each person who continues to read my story. Thanks for the support, guys. Comment. 10 comments. Vote. Chapter 40, Profit and Mischief. Chapter 40, Profit and Mischief. G equals galleons. S equals sickles. K equals nuts. Max's point of view. Hello friends, it is me, Max, your favorite fictional protagonist, and I am currently in a room with the old goblin Gornuk, and there is also the king of the goblins nation Ragnarok 14. How are the profits going? I ask with a smile. We have never stolen so many witches and wizards. We have never done such a good business with wizards and witches, the old Gornuk shouted excitedly, but suddenly he realized his words and corrected them. Ha ha ha, you can't blame us, young tyrant, and it's because this business is so lucrative, says the Goblin King Ragnarok. Yes, young tyrant, currently we have collected more than 450 million G with 7,000,000,000s and 38,000,000,000,000,000K, says the old Goblin Gornuk excitedly. N/A, that being a lot of money. Certainly, it is more or less what I had estimated and asked how were the underground gambling. Excellent, my sixth son Ragnarok is taking care of the matter. He has just passed a summary and the earnings cover more than 700 million G with 150,000,000 and 13,777,111,666 says the Goblin King Ragnarok. Clearly while everyone they enjoyed, the goblins and I, we had to be aware of the accounts and earnings. /N, TSK you bastards. How were the grocery and beverage sales? It is going great, young tyrant, and currently the earnings are astronomical, but we will have a summary of the earnings soon, says old Gornak. How was the negotiations with the French ministry? I ask. We reached an agreement to give him 21.07% of the profits we generate. The French Magic Ministry is very excited, and since he will practically earn a lot of money doing nothing, answers the Goblin King Ragnarok. Spread the word and spread the deal we made with the French Magic Ministry with the other ministries. Also have them see us in a way that we lost a lot of profits in this deal, I say seriously. I like the idea. We can use the old strategy of looking like pitiful beggars and that we lost a lot of money, just to make the French Ministry of Magic feel more comfortable with the deal, says the old Goblin Gornak. Ha ha ha, that idea is fabulous, but we have to be careful when we divulge the information, and because the other ministries want a piece of the cake, says the Goblin King Ragnarok. So that nobody complains, we will give them 4%. For having announced the championship in the other magical ministries, and we look for a way to gain more political influence in those countries, I say with a smile. We will do it, young tyrant. Anything else you want us to do? Asked the old Goblin Gornak. Yes, there is another thing. Gather resources secretly, and it is because the future will be another war. We must prepare in advance for the matter, I say seriously. Clearly I am anticipating the debacle of the demons. So we will, young tyrant, says the old goblin, without questioning my request. Will there be another war, young tyrant? Asks the Goblin King Ragnarok. Yes, there will be in the future, Goblin King, approximately in the year 2018, and the magicians who do not join us will be the ones who will suffer massive casualties, I say seriously. Clearly I was thinking about the matter of my granddaughter Iris with him boy James. Obviously I must calculate and change the future of my granddaughter. Well, it all depends on the circumstances. Oh dear granddaughter, your beloved grandfather would not allow it. Obviously someone wants to make fun of me with this magical Romeo and Juliet shit. Oh maybe, leave your education outside Andromeda and Sissy with that, I'm sure it will be a different witch. How did you find out about this matter, young tyrant? Asked the Goblin King Ragnarok. One of my descendants traveled from the future with a time turner to warn me of the matter, and I will not go into details, since the future they saw can be changed by my actions, I say seriously. Well, I'll talk to the council elders and the Goblin Nation will trust you, for this matter of war, says the Goblin King. Clearly I had earned the respect of these boys. Suddenly, a cruel thought crossed my mind, and with a cruel smile I say, let's also promote and spread the name of old Aberforth Dumbledore. Let's make him look like a great magician and businessman worldwide. /N, astute, he. Why would we do that, young tyrant? The old goblin asks. Clearly he didn't want to waste resource on that. Well, I've always known that old Albus is an envious man, and what better way than to show it, that we use his brother Aberforth, I say with a cruel smile. I was thinking of a plan to screw old Albus' patience. He. Explain to us to join in the fun, says Goblin King Ragnarok with a smile. Yes, the Goblin King Ragnarok hated old Albus, because many goblins died because of him, and the Goblin King Ragnarok had not forgotten what happened at that time. The plan consists of several steps. First, we promoted Aberforth. Second, we bought all the supplies of lemon and the lemon candies in all of Britain, started selling them in the taverns of old Aberforth. Ha ha ha, just imagine her face, ha ha ha. Going to buy the lemon candies, ha ha ha, at his little brother's taverns, ha ha ha, it will be priceless, ha ha ha, I say laughing. Clearly it would be fun to see old Albus trying to buy. Ha ha ha. I can imagine it, ha ha ha, says the Goblin King Ragnarok laughing. Ha ha ha, me too, ha ha ha, laughs the old Goblin Gornuk. Ha 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 ha. All three laughing to tears. /n, ha ha ha, just thinking about it also makes me laugh, ha ha ha. Oh young tyrant, ha ha ha. I will supervise this task myself, ha ha ha, says the Goblin King Ragnarok. Clearly this would be a lot of fun for him, and he would take revenge on poor old Albus, who would suffer at the hands of the Goblin King. Ha ha, if you need help, King, ha ha ha, let me know, I'll help you gladly, ha 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 ha, says the old Goblin Gornuk. Clearly he would also like to see old Albus suffer. Well, let's get to work on the serious issues, I say, interrupting my laughter, and ask how are things with the magical city Heligdom. It will take us approximately 4 years to gather and search for the resources you requested, young tyrant, says the old Goblin Gornuk. Try to shorten it to 2 years or at least 3 years, and don't worry so much about the money, Grandpa Gornuk, I tell the old goblin seriously. I understand. I will try to do it as quickly as possible and will have it ready in less than 2.5 years, says the old Goblin Gornuk. You really plan to do what you are planning to do, because if you manage to do it, and I do not doubt it, then the magicians will have many possibilities in the future, says the Goblin King Ragnarok. I'm planning much more than that, I say with a bright smile. You must have many things to do, and I have to talk to my wife Rita, I say seriously. Sure, are the youth of these days, says the old goblin. Ha ha ha, it's fine young tyrant, we'll talk later and I'll keep you up to date on the lemons issue, ha 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 ha, says the Goblin King Ragnarok laughing as he walks through the door. The old Goblin Gornuk closes the door, leaving me alone in the room, or so it seemed. Why, Rita, you can now transform into your human form, and you have not yet stopped your bad habit of snooping into your husband's affairs, I say seriously. From one corner of the room, a small blue beetle can be seen, and suddenly it enlarges, becoming Rita. Husband, I did not do it with bad intentions, and it is because I was looking for you a husband. Also the matter of lemons is interesting, says Rita, trying to make me forget the matter that was snooping. I raise my hand towards Rita, and with a powerful suction or telekinetic force, I drag Rita towards me. I place her lying on my lap. Oh yeah, you can already imagine, he. PLAFFFFF. Oh yeah, a good, hard slap on Rita's ass. /n, oh shit. Kiara, husband. I'm not sorry. I won't do it again, says Rita with a smile. It was obvious that this witch was a masochist. PLAFFFFFF. Kiara. Oh Rita, you have been a very bad and naughty girl. I must punish you properly so that you do not do it again in the future, I say with a smile. PLAFFFFFF. Kiara. Tell me Rita, how have you been a bad and naughty girl, I say with a playful smile. PLAFFFFFF. Kiara. Punish me husband, I've been very naughty, says Rita. Clearly her inner masochist was waking up. /n, for some reason that I can't explain, I'm very envious. PLAFFFFFF. Kiara. PAFFFF. Husband, Rita has been very naughty, says Rita seductively. Plaffffff. Kya. Oh dear Rita, you have a nice ass, I said, stroking her ass. Plaffffff. Kya. Plaffffff. Kya. Plaffffff. Kya. Plaffffff. Kya. Husband, stop, ha, stop, ha. Says Rita, gasping with excitement. Plaffffff. Kya. Plaffffff. Kya. Plaffffff. Kya. Plaffffff. Kya. Ha. Ha. I'm running, ha, says Rita, panting. Plaffffff. Kya. Plaffffff. Kya. Ha. I come, ha, says Rita, reaching orgasm. /n, bu. TSK wanted more XXXX. If it's been a few minutes after my S&M section with Rita. I am currently enjoying a delicious meal with my wife Rita. Tell me, what did you want to tell me? I ask him with a smile. You are evil husband, my butt still hurts, you know, and I wanted to tell you, if you would accept Tatiana as a wife, says Rita. Clearly, she enjoyed his pat on the butt, but she was being innocent and pure with me. You have already decided, and why ask me now, I say. Why did I just want to confirm it, Rita says with a big smile, as she runs out the door. Ah yes, Gellert Grindelwald was right to hate Paris. Obviously, since we arrived in Paris, my wives are more liberal and perverted, which makes me love and hate Paris too. /n, I don't know about you, but I love Paris. To be continued in the next chapter. /n, as always, I thank everyone who continues reading my novel. Thanks for the support.